Princess Luna stood at the tall windows of her palace, watching the stars above her home world of Zephyr Prime. The beautiful sight that once brought her peace now filled her with fear. Somewhere among those distant lights, death was coming for her people. The communication device on her desk buzzed with urgent messages. Admiral Vex's voice crackled through the speaker, tired and strained from weeks of constant fighting. Your Highness, the Korthak forces have taken the Outer Rim stations. We estimate they will reach our system within 10 days. Luna closed her eyes and took a deep breath. The Korthak horde had been moving through their sector for months, destroying everything in their path. 3 entire star systems had already fallen to their brutal advance. Billions of innocent people were dead or enslaved. How many ships do we have left? Luna asked, though she feared the answer. 67 battle cruisers and perhaps 200 smaller vessels, Admiral Vex replied. The Korthak fleet numbers in the thousands. Our technology is superior, but we are vastly outnumbered. Luna nodded slowly. She had known this day would come. The Zephyrian people were peaceful by nature. They had built a civilization based on science, art, and diplomacy. Their military, while advanced, was small and designed for defense, not the kind of total war the Korthak demanded. Prepare the evacuation protocols, she commanded. We must save as many people as possible. Where will they go, Your Highness? The neighboring systems refuse to take refugees. They fear the Korthak will follow. This was the problem that kept Luna awake at night. Even if they could evacuate the civilian population, no one wanted to risk harboring Zephyrian refugees. The Korthak were known for hunting down survivors and punishing anyone who helped them. A soft knock at her door interrupted her dark thoughts. Her advisor, Minister Dex, entered the room with a worried expression. Your Highness, the human ambassador has arrived. He requests an immediate audience. Luna frowned. Human. I was not aware we had any diplomatic contact with Earth. Nor was I, Your Highness. He says it concerns our current situation with the Korthak. Luna found this curious. Humans were a relatively new species in galactic affairs, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 50 years ago. Most advanced civilizations considered them primitive and unimportant. The Galactic Council had given them observer status but little more. Send him in, Luna decided. Perhaps this human had news from other systems, or maybe his people had encountered Korthak forces elsewhere. The man who entered her chamber was not what she expected. Most humans she had seen in news reports were formal and nervous when meeting alien dignitaries. This one moved with quiet confidence, his dark eyes taking in the room with careful attention. He was average height for a human, with brown hair and a face that seemed kind but alert. He wore simple clothes, a dark jacket and pants that looked practical rather than ceremonial. There was something about the way he carried himself that suggested hidden strength. Your Highness, he said, bowing respectfully. I am Sam Rodriguez, speaking for the Human Defense Alliance. I have come to offer assistance in your current crisis. Minister Dex made a small sound of surprise. Luna herself was puzzled. Assistance? Forgive me, Ambassador Rodriguez, but what could your people possibly do against the Korthak horde? No offense intended, but human military capabilities are limited. Sam smiled slightly, as if he had expected this reaction. I understand your skepticism, Your Highness. Humans are often underestimated. However, we have resources that might prove useful. More importantly, we have territory that lies between your space and several neutral systems. Luna felt a spark of interest. Go on. The Korthak advance will push your people toward human space. We can offer safe passage and temporary sanctuary for Zephyrian refugees. Our planets have room for millions of displaced persons. And what would you want in return? Luna asked. In her experience, no one offered help without expecting something back. A formal alliance between our peoples. Trade agreements. Technological exchange. Nothing that would harm Zephyrian interests. Minister Dex stepped forward. Your Highness, while we appreciate the offer, human space is hardly secure. What protection could they offer against the Korthak? Sam's expression remained calm. More than you might think. But I understand your concerns. Perhaps we could discuss terms that would make you more comfortable. Luna studied the human ambassador carefully. There was something about him that seemed different from what she expected. Most diplomats spoke in careful, measured words. Sam seemed direct, almost military in his bearing. What kind of formal alliance did you have in mind? She asked. That would depend on what level of commitment you require. For maximum legal protection under galactic law, a marriage alliance would be strongest. Ancient treaties still recognize such bonds as unbreakable. The room fell silent. Minister Dex looked shocked, and Luna felt her own surprise. Marriage alliances were old-fashioned even by Zephyrian standards, though they remained legally binding. You are suggesting a political marriage? Luna asked carefully. If it would secure safe passage and protection for your people, yes. I understand it would be a significant sacrifice on your part. Luna found his direct approach refreshing, even if the suggestion was startling. Most alien diplomats would have spent hours dancing around such a proposal. And you would be willing to enter into such an arrangement? If it saves lives, absolutely. Minister Dex leaned close to Luna and whispered, Your Highness, this is highly irregular. We know nothing about this human or his government's true capabilities. A marriage alliance with a species of questionable military strength could bind us to a useless agreement. Luna understood his concerns, but she was running out of options. The Korthak would arrive soon, and her people needed somewhere to go. Even if the humans could only provide temporary shelter, it was better than nothing. Tell me about human defense capabilities, she said to Sam. Our military doctrine focuses on efficiency and mobility. We prefer smaller, specialized forces over massive fleets. Human space is well defended, though perhaps not in ways that would be immediately obvious to outside observers. This vague answer did not inspire confidence, but Luna noticed he spoke with certainty rather than boasting. Most species that claimed great military strength like to describe their weapons and tactics in detail. How many ships could you bring to bear if the Korthak followed refugees into human space? She pressed. Enough, Sam replied simply. Minister Dex made an exasperated sound. Your Highness, this is hardly a serious proposal. This human speaks in riddles and offers no concrete evidence of his people's abilities. Luna looked out the window again. In the distance, she could see evacuation ships being prepared. Time was running short, and conventional diplomacy had failed to secure sanctuary for her people. Ambassador Rodriguez, she said finally, assuming such a marriage alliance were possible, what exactly would it guarantee? Full protection under human law for all Zephyrian refugees. Permanent settlement rights if desired. Access to human trade networks and defensive agreements. And a commitment that any attack on Zephyrian people would be considered an attack on humanity itself. And the marriage itself? Would be real and binding, but could remain political in nature if you preferred. I would respect whatever boundaries you set. Luna appreciated his honesty. Many species would have made grand romantic promises they had no intention of keeping. Your Highness, Minister Dex said urgently, we should at least contact other systems first. Perhaps the Altarian Republic or the Centauri Alliance. Have already refused us, Luna finished. As have the others. Face the reality, Minister. No one wants to fight the Korthak. No one wants refugees who bring that kind of danger. She turned back to Sam. If I agreed to this alliance, when would it need to take place? Immediately. The legal protections only activate once the ceremony is complete. Given your timeline with the Korthak advance, we would need to act within the next few days. Luna felt the weight of her entire civilization on her shoulders. Millions of lives depended on her decisions. The traditional approaches had failed, leaving only desperate measures. "I need to consult with my council," she said. "Can you give me 6 hours?" "Of course, Your Highness." After Sam left, Luna called an emergency meeting of her senior advisors. The debate was intense and often heated. Most considered the human proposal ridiculous, arguing that binding their princess to an unknown alien from a weak species would accomplish nothing. Admiral Vex disagreed. "We need somewhere for the civilian population to go. If the humans can provide that, it saves millions of lives. What we do after that can be determined later." "But a marriage alliance," protested Minister Dex. "To someone whose people barely have space flight. It makes us look desperate." "We are desperate," Luna said quietly. "The Korthak will be here in days. Half our fleet is destroyed. Our neighboring systems have abandoned us. What alternatives do you suggest?" The room fell silent. Everyone knew she was right. "At least contact Earth's government," urged the science minister. "Verify this human's authority to make such agreements." Luna nodded and instructed her communications team to reach out to human authorities. The response came within hours, confirming that Sam Rodriguez was indeed authorized to negotiate on behalf of humanity. More surprisingly, the human government seemed eager to formalize the alliance. "Why are they so interested in helping us?" Luna wondered aloud. Admiral Vex pulled up intelligence reports on his data pad. "Perhaps because they understand military realities better than we thought. If the Korthak finish with us, they will eventually expand toward human space. Better to make a stand now with allies than face them alone later." This reasoning made sense to Luna. Perhaps the humans were not as naive as they appeared. As evening approached, Luna made her decision. She called Sam back to the palace and informed him she would accept the marriage alliance. "The ceremony will need to be simple," she explained. "We have little time for elaborate preparations." "I understand. A basic exchange of vows under Zephyrian law will be sufficient for our purposes." "You seem remarkably calm about marrying someone you met today," Luna observed. Sam smiled. "I knew this was a possibility before I came here. I have spent considerable time learning about your people and customs. While I hope we can become friends, I understand this is primarily about saving lives." His practical attitude impressed Luna. Most beings would have either made grand romantic gestures or expressed obvious reluctance. Sam seemed focused entirely on the mission. The wedding took place 2 days later in the palace's small ceremonial chamber. Only essential personnel attended, Minister Dex, Admiral Vex, and a few other senior officials. Sam brought no one from his own people, explaining that his ship's crew was minimal and needed to maintain operational readiness. Luna wore a simple blue dress rather than traditional royal robes. Sam wore what appeared to be a formal version of his practical clothes, still dark, still unadorned, but clearly designed for important occasions. The ceremony itself was brief. Zephyrian marriage law required an exchange of commitments witnessed by appointed officials. Luna spoke the ancient words binding her to protect and support Sam's people as her own. Sam reciprocated, pledging the same for Zephyrians. When they clasped hands to complete the ritual, Luna noticed calluses on Sam's palms that suggested regular physical training. Most diplomats had soft hands from years of desk work. "It is done," announced the ceremonial official. "Princess Luna and Ambassador Rodriguez are now bound by the laws of Zephyr Prime." There was no celebration, no feast, no dancing. As soon as the legal requirements were complete, everyone returned to their crisis preparations. The Korthak advance had accelerated, and evacuation ships needed to depart within hours. Luna found herself standing alone with her new husband in the palace gardens. The moment felt surreal. She had just married a complete stranger to save her civilization. "Do you have any regrets?" Sam asked quietly. Luna considered the question. "Ask me again when I know whether it worked." "What about you?" "None. Sometimes necessity requires sacrifice." At least we are making this choice together. His straightforward answer reminded Luna why she had agreed to the alliance. Sam seemed like someone who understood duty and responsibility. Your evacuation fleet will need escort through the neutral zone, he said. My ships are prepared to provide protection. Ships? I thought you came alone. My diplomatic vessel is here. The escort fleet is positioned at the system edge, waiting for orders. This surprised Luna. Most species announced military presence immediately, using it to strengthen their negotiating position. How many ships? Enough for the mission, Sam replied, giving the same vague answer as before. Before Luna could ask for details, alarms began sounding across the palace complex. Admiral Vex's voice echoed through the communication system. All personnel to emergency stations. Long-range sensors have detected Korthak scouts entering the outer system. Hostile contact expected within 6 hours. Luna felt her blood turn cold. The Korthak had arrived ahead of schedule. Half the civilian population was still on planet, and the evacuation fleet was not ready to depart. They are moving faster than we predicted, she said to Sam. Many of our people will not escape in time. Sam activated a small device on his wrist. Rodriguez to Fleet Command. Execute Protocol 7. All vessels to full readiness. Prepare for immediate engagement. The calm authority in his voice surprised Luna. This was not how she expected a diplomat to respond to military crisis. Ambassador, perhaps you should return to your ship for safety, she suggested. Sam shook his head. My place is here until all Zephyrian civilians are safely away. That was part of our agreement. Before Luna could respond, Minister Dex came running across the garden, his face pale with fear. Your Highness, the Korthak advance force has been detected. 3 heavy cruisers and multiple assault craft. They are heading directly for the evacuation staging areas. Luna's heart sank. The Zephyrian military was already stretched thin defending multiple positions. They could not protect the vulnerable refugee ships from a direct attack. How long until our people can launch, she asked. At least 2 more hours. The heavy transports need time to complete loading. It was a death sentence. The Korthak would reach the staging areas long before the evacuation was complete. Luna looked at Sam, hoping he had some idea, some human strategy that might help. Instead, she saw something unexpected in his eyes, not fear or uncertainty, but cold, focused determination. Time to see what humans are really capable of, he said quietly. The Korthak attack ships moved through space like deadly shadows against the stars. Princess Luna watched the tactical display in the palace command center, her heart heavy with the knowledge that her people faced certain death. The 3 enemy cruisers were massive, each one larger than anything in the Zephyrian fleet. Admiral Vex stood beside her, his face grim as he coordinated the defense. Our ships are moving to intercept, but we cannot protect the evacuation sites and fight the main force. The refugees are helpless. Luna felt the weight of failure crushing down on her. She had married Sam to save her people, but it seemed she had only delayed their doom by a few hours. The human ships he had mentioned were nowhere to be seen. Where is your escort fleet? She asked Sam, who stood calmly beside her despite the chaos around them. Sam checked his wrist device again. Moving into position. They will reveal themselves when the time is right. Minister Dex made a sound of frustration. Your Highness, the human is clearly delusional. There are no ships out there. We have been deceived. On the main screen, the Korthak vessels began launching attack craft. Hundreds of small, fast ships poured from the cruisers like angry insects. Luna knew that each one carried enough firepower to destroy a civilian transport. Estimated time until they reached the evacuation zone. Luna asked. 43 minutes, Admiral Vex replied. Our interceptors will delay them, but not for long. Luna closed her eyes, trying to think of some solution, some miracle that could save her people. When she opened them again, she noticed something strange. Sam was no longer standing beside her. Instead, he was moving toward a communication console with purposeful steps. "What are you doing?" she called after him. "Taking command," Sam replied simply. He reached the console and began entering codes with rapid precision. "This is Rodriguez to all human units. Authorization Omega 77. You are cleared for full combat protocols." The technician at the console looked confused. "Sir, I show no human vessels on sensors." Sam smiled, but it was not the gentle expression Luna had seen before. This was something colder, more dangerous. "You will." Suddenly, the tactical display exploded with new contacts. Ships appeared throughout the system as if materializing from nothing. Luna stared in shock as dozens of vessels revealed themselves, having somehow remained hidden until this moment. "Stealth technology," Admiral Vex breathed. "But the energy requirements for hiding ships that large should be impossible." Luna counted the new contacts. There were not dozens of human ships, but hundreds. They surrounded the Korthak force completely, having moved into position while remaining invisible. "Admiral Vex," Sam said, his voice now carrying unmistakable military authority, "please transfer tactical command to the human fleet. Your ships should pull back to defensive positions around the evacuation sites." "I cannot do that without Princess Luna's authorization," Admiral Vex protested. Luna stared at the display, trying to understand what she was seeing. The human vessels were not the primitive ships she had expected. They moved with perfect coordination, their formation suggesting advanced tactical systems. "Do it," she commanded. "Transfer command to the humans." Sam nodded his thanks and began speaking into his communicator in rapid, clipped sentences. Luna could not follow all the military terminology, but she recognized the tone of someone who had done this many times before. "Battle Group Alpha, take positions 7 through 12. Beta Group, move to intercept the advance fighters. Gamma Group, prepare for close assault on enemy capitals. Rules of engagement are weapons free. I repeat, weapons free." The human ships moved with incredible speed and precision. Luna watched as they closed on the Korthak attack craft like predators surrounding prey. What happened next defied everything she thought she knew about human capabilities. The first exchange of fire lit up the darkness of space. Korthak weapons struck human shields and simply vanished, absorbed by defensive systems that seemed far beyond anything humans should possess. The return fire was devastating. Human weapons did not simply destroy Korthak fighters. They disintegrated them completely, leaving nothing but empty space where enemy ships had been moments before. The attack craft formation collapsed within minutes as human vessels tore through their ranks. "Impossible," whispered Minister Dex. "Those are civilian vessels. How do they have such firepower?" Sam glanced at him with something that might have been amusement. "Appearances can be deceiving, Minister. Humans learned long ago that it is better to look weak than to advertise strength." On the screen, the 3 Korthak cruisers were turning to face the human fleet. These were massive warships that had destroyed entire worlds. Luna expected them to overwhelm the smaller human vessels through sheer size and firepower. Instead, she watched in amazement as human ships began taking the cruisers apart with surgical precision. Their weapons seemed to cut through Korthak armor like it was made of paper. Explosions blossomed across the enemy hulls as critical systems failed. "Sam," Luna said slowly, "what exactly are human ships designed for?" "War," he replied without hesitation. "We have been fighting for our survival since before we reached the stars. Every human vessel is built for combat, even the ones that look like cargo ships." Admiral Vex was studying his instruments with growing excitement. "Your Highness, the Korthak main force is in full retreat. They are abandoning the system entirely." Luna could barely believe what she was hearing. The same Korthak horde that had destroyed 3 star systems was running from a human fleet that had appeared from nowhere. "How is this possible?" she asked Sam. Intelligence reports suggested humans had limited military capabilities. Intelligence reports see what we want them to see, Sam explained. Humans prefer to be underestimated. It makes potential enemies careless. Before Luna could ask more questions, alarms began sounding again. This time, however, they were not warnings of attack but signals of something else entirely. Your Highness, called a technician, we are receiving a message from the Korthak war chief. He is requesting immediate communication. Luna looked at Sam in surprise. They want to talk. Put him through, Sam said, stepping forward to the main communication display. The image that appeared showed a massive, reptilian creature covered in battle scars. The Korthak war chief looked directly at Sam with what Luna recognized as fear. Human commander, the alien growled, we did not know this system was under your protection. We withdraw our forces immediately. Sam nodded calmly. See that you do. And spread word among your people that Zephyrian space is now considered part of the human defensive zone. Any future attacks will be met with full retaliation. Understood, human. The Horde will find other hunting grounds. The communication ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Luna stared at her new husband, trying to reconcile this calm military commander with the polite diplomat she had met days earlier. They know you, she said finally. The Korthak know humans well enough to fear them. Sam's expression softened slightly, returning to something closer to the man who had proposed marriage to save her people. Humans have encountered the Korthak before. They learned not to test us. What happened? Luna asked. They attacked a human colony world 3 years ago. Destroyed several cities, enslaved thousands of civilians. It was their first contact with our species. And it was also their last successful attack on human territory. We made sure they understood the consequences of targeting innocent people. Luna realized that Sam was choosing his words carefully, not wanting to describe the full extent of human retaliation. She could imagine it had been swift and terrible. Minister Dex approached them hesitantly. Ambassador Rodriguez, I owe you an apology. I gravely underestimated your people's capabilities. Most species do, Sam replied. We prefer it that way. Fear makes neighbors aggressive. Underestimation makes them peaceful. Admiral Vex was still studying the tactical display, where human ships continued their patrol around the evacuating Zephyrian transports. Your vessels move like nothing I have ever seen. How do you coordinate such complex maneuvers? Practice, Sam said simply. And necessity. Human space is surrounded by hostile territories. We have learned to fight efficiently or not at all. Luna watched the evacuation proceed under human protection. Her people were safely boarding the transport ships, knowing they would reach sanctuary without fear of attack. The marriage alliance she had entered into desperately was proving to be the salvation of her entire civilization. But questions remained. Sam, if humans possess such advanced military technology, why do you remain isolated? Why not join the Galactic Council as full members? Sam was quiet for a moment, considering his answer. Because powerful civilizations are expected to police the galaxy. Humans prefer to defend our own territory and our allies. We do not seek to rule others. Yet you came to help us. Because you needed help, and because the right thing to do is sometimes also the strategically wise thing. Stopping the Korthak here prevents them from eventually reaching human space. Luna nodded, understanding. Humans were not isolationist by choice but by design. They had learned to be strong while appearing weak, avoiding the responsibilities that came with openly displaying power. Your Highness, Admiral Vex interrupted, the last evacuation ships have departed. All civilian populations are safely away from the planet. Luna felt relief wash over her. Her people were safe, at least for now. But she also realized that her own life had changed permanently. She was now bound to Sam and, through him, to a species far more complex than she had imagined. What happens now? She asked Sam. Now your people travel to human space, where they can rebuild in safety. Permanent colonies are already being prepared on several worlds. The refugee situation is temporary. And us? Sam smiled, and this time it was warm and genuine. That depends on what you want. The marriage alliance can remain political if you prefer, or we can see if we might actually like each other. Luna found herself smiling back. I think I would like to know more about the real you. The man behind the diplomat and the military commander. That can be arranged, Sam said. But first, there is something you should see. He led her to a viewing window that looked out over the palace grounds. In the distance, Luna could see a human ship landing in the courtyard. It was sleek and dangerous looking, nothing like the simple diplomatic vessel Sam had arrived in days earlier. My actual ship, Sam explained. The diplomatic transport was for appearances. This is what I normally travel in. As the ship's hatch opened, figures emerged that made Luna gasp. They moved with the same quiet confidence as Sam, but they wore armor that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Their weapons were unlike anything in Zephyrian or Korthak arsenals. Your bodyguards? Luna guessed. My team, Sam corrected. We specialize in situations that require immediate resolution. Luna studied Sam's face, noting details she had missed before. The small scars hidden by his diplomatic appearance. The way his eyes constantly scanned their surroundings. The careful way he moved, always balanced and ready. You are not really a diplomat, are you? She realized. I am many things, as circumstances require. Today I was a diplomat. Yesterday I was something else. Tomorrow I may be something different again. What were you yesterday? Sam's expression grew serious. Someone who makes problems disappear before they become threats to innocent people. Luna felt a shiver run through her, but it was not fear. It was the realization that she had married someone far more dangerous and capable than she had imagined. Someone who could protect her people not just through treaties and alliances, but through pure, overwhelming force if necessary. The Korthak war chief recognized you personally, she said. Not just humans in general, but you specifically. We have met before. What happened to him when you met? Sam's smile was cold again. He learned that some prey fights back. Luna understood. Sam had not just been present when humans taught the Korthak to fear them. He had been part of teaching that lesson, possibly the most important part. As they stood together watching his team secure the palace grounds, Luna reflected on the strange turn her life had taken. She had begun the day as a desperate princess seeking any alliance to save her people. She was ending it as the wife of someone who might be one of the most dangerous individuals in known space. Do you regret it? Sam asked, seeming to read her thoughts. Luna considered the question carefully. Her people were safe. The Korthak threat was ended. And she found herself genuinely intrigued by this complex man she had married. Ask me again in a year, she said. When I know you better. Fair enough, Sam replied. Though I should warn you, knowing me better may not make things simpler. I would be disappointed if they were simple, Luna said, surprising herself with the truth of the statement. As the last of the evacuation ships disappeared into the safety of human space, Luna realized that her marriage to Sam had been far more than a desperate alliance. It had been the beginning of something entirely new, for both her personally and for her people. The princess who had married a stranger to save her civilization was gone. In her place stood a woman bound to someone whose hidden depths matched the incredible power he wielded in defense of those he protected. And despite everything she had learned about humans and about Sam, Luna found herself looking forward to discovering what other surprises lay ahead. The stars above Zephyr Prime no longer looked threatening. Under human protection, they looked like possibilities.